Wouldn't do that.
Looks like Barry's back in Arizona.
Oh, yeah, let's see. Okay, I think we're good. I wish I could do this so that see if when I speak, if it shows us. Yes.
I see you.
I guess change, can you change it back to gallery view? There,
Me?
yeah, is that in the upper right? Here, I can do it. Yeah, I think we made it
Mine is and.
like that. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the December 7th Town Board Agenda meeting. I'll start the meeting with a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic that stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. And I will open the meeting with opportunity for privilege of the floor. Great. So, let's see, Rob, Mr. Swansboro.
So, got on the town website, found this, new proposed local law, for code enforcement laws and regulations. And I was like, sweet, this might be something I can help with. Read through it, skimmed through it quickly, and then I read through it. There's multiple things in here that should be changed. I don't have a lot of time, so I'm gonna just hit a few points in this. There's section 4, building permits. Goes into exemptions. No building permit shall be required for work in any of these following categories. All this is covered by NYCR 1203.3, which is a state law, and there's more exemptions than what's in here. Just so you know, in the state law for exemptions on building permits. Time limits. Building permit shall be invalid unless authorized work is commenced within 6 months. I don't understand why we would make a permit invalid if it's not started within 6 months. That's up to the applicant when they want to start it.
What page is that on?
That's on page 8. This is just a few things that I've seen in here. Building permit shall expire in 12 months. I honestly believe they should be 24 months. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Elements of work to be inspected. There's a list of them. But it should say, but not limited to. You know, there's other things on this that should be inspected. Okay. Stop work orders. A subsection 2. Any work that is being conducted in a dangerous or unsafe manner, in the opinion of the code enforcement officer. This is not a code issue, this is an OSHA issue, and it's covered under OSHA laws. You know. I don't see where you can legally write a stop work order if someone's doing something dangerous. That's up to OSHA. And that is explained in code training, the very first class you take. Section 9, unsafe buildings, structures, and equipments in conditions of imminent danger. This, in my opinion, sections of this is written like a police statement. I'm sorry, I just don't agree with a lot of this. Significant means of egress or exit in case of fire. Is this hoarding? If it's hoarding is a mental illness. You can't just take stuff away from people. It's, you know, there's section 9 I really don't want to talk about because it gets my blood pressure up way too high. So I'm gonna skip right through that. But that's a section that really needs a lot of work. But I will hit on the very last paragraph in this. It describes deconstruction, not demolition. And I don't think you can mandate that someone deconstructs a building. The only demolition that's in this paragraph is for implosion or explosion for demolition. Everything else is deconstruction. I did see that we are gonna have operating permits. You know, section 2, subsection 5, tents. Sugar houses is in section 9, open burnings in section 11. We need operating permits for this stuff. And duration of operating permits, 120 days for a tent. We've had one up for 3 years. In my favorite section of all of this, which made me laugh a lot, is section 13, conditions, assessments of parking garages. And no, we had a parking garage in town, Carrollton. You know, I would like to know where this came from. And if this is a law somewhere in the municipality, if it's been challenged.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to know.
Yep, thank you. Sure, I'm happy to address that. So this document came from the state. The town attorney updated it for Caroline. If you would want to submit your written suggestions, that would be welcome. So yeah, so thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to speak to the board? Any hands, Jesse? Okay. Thank you. All right, I will open the meeting and ask for any additions or changes to the agenda. I'll make a couple of notes. I will add a resolution after the introduction of the local law to set a public hearing date and time. And I will also add a budget transfer resolution towards the end of the meeting. Those are 2 things. Anything else to add to the agenda? Okay, great. With that, I will now formally introduce the local law that is posted with the agenda. It's an update to the administration of the New York State Building Code and Energy Code. And this is something that we need to do to keep our local administration up to date. It's due by the end of the year. Is that volume, Jesse?
The cameras over there.
Oh, thank you. It's, yeah, okay. Thank you.
Whoops. Do you remember what preset it is?
I think it's 1, and then you can use the arrow to toggle it up. Looks like it's down low on us now.
That good?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that, everybody. I forgot where the camera was looking. So anyway, this happens every few years, that the local law for municipalities to administer the New York State Building Code and Energy Code is updated. So that's where it came from, and that's what it is. So it's now introduced, and we will be formally, before adoption, we will need to set a public hearing to take public comment. And so I will offer a resolution to set the public hearing for this local law for 7 p.m. on December 14th, our business meeting. So it'll be at the start, it'll precede the business meeting. Seconded by Tim. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none. Question by Catherine, who's raising her real hand. Oh,
She's muted.
can you unmute her, Jesse? I think she has to be asked to unmute. If you could make her a co-host too, that'll make, yeah. Hi, Catherine.
Wait,
Hi, Catherine.
Hi, if you guys could allow me to unmute myself, that would be awesome.
Yeah, working on that.
Are we, when are we discussing this law prior to the hearing, or?
Well, it can be discussed tonight after introduction. It can be discussed next week after the public hearing.
Well, I guess I mean, I have questions about the law. I'm not trying to muck up the works. I'm a little
Right.
unclear. I'm a little unclear on the order of things. Like, I'm fine with having a public hearing,
Yeah,
but I don't really know what if we say we're having a public hearing on this law, which we will be discussing
right.
henceforth, I mean, I guess that's fine, but I don't like, I have
Okay.
questions. I mean,
So you're saying that you would like more opportunity for discussion before the public hearing?
I guess I'm clarifying that we have any opportunity for discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a good point. The time for discussion is now, or we can make time for that and hold the public hearing later. We could make time for that at the business meeting. I mean, as I said, this is language that comes from the state, and it's been updated to reflect that it's for the town of Caroline. I did have Cliff look it over, and he removed one of the exemptions, which was the exemption for theater sets, things like that, that he felt should not be exempted because they're often, they often have lots of people on them and can be dangerous. So I removed that exemption, but otherwise the language is what is the state template. So if you feel the need for, further review, we could do that next week and set a public hearing later in the month.
I mean, maybe I'm alone in this, but we've been busy with a lot of other things. I mean, honestly, I'm being totally honest, I have not had a chance to read this word line by line, and I don't think it's appropriate for me to vote on it until I've done that. I certainly will do that, and it will get done by next week, you know, if that's when the public hearing is. But I just want to be really honest that, you know, maybe it's just me, but if everyone else at that table has read this and like is ready to go, I will.
So there, Catherine, if, let's say we did set the public hearing for next week, that is still opportunity, you know, after we receive public input, to have a board discussion about it. The public hearing is not a mandate of a vote at that time.
Okay, that's fine. That's totally
So-
fine.
Okay, would that be okay?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay,
Catherine, you're not alone, you just wanted to read this some more and have a chance to.
Okay, thanks. I
Great.
just don't.
it's a valid point, so. Does setting the public hearing next week feel rushed, that you don't want to do that? Is that enough time to read it? And, okay.
Yep.
So if the public hearing or end or discussion, say make us want to change the law, would we then have to have another public hearing if we changed it?
It would depend on the magnitude of the changes. So if they were substantive changes, then we would probably want to do that. If they were, you know, ministerial or, you know, language changes or something like that, no, we wouldn't have to have another public hearing. So,
So we can change it, you were able to remove something that Cliff thought was inappropriate. It's not like it's just kind of handed down from the state for us to rubber stamp, we have to approve. You can remove parts that are objectionable.
Yeah.
that don't apply,
we can modify it as we wish.
like parking garages.
Right, but well, we can discuss it later, like parking garages. But I think they should be included. So,
Will you make Catherine a co-host or won't let me?
oh, I'm sorry, I should. So I'll have to make, I'll make you host next time. I didn't realize that.
Mark, do we have this law already on the books? Like this is a revision of an existing law, or I can't.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. It's updated every few years. It's renewed every few years.
Catherine, it's under local laws. I just
Yep.
looked at it, and it was last updated in 2013.
Okay,
9 years ago.
And let's see, what am I doing here? There we go.
thank you.
Can you give me a copy of 2013? Catherine, you want a copy of 2013?
It's online. I'm looking at it now. I'm trying to look for it. I think it should be online. Right.
I just looked at it. It's there.
Okay,
I think.
okay. For the digitally challenged. Sorry,
See that?
for the digitally challenged.
Yeah.
You're not digitally challenged. I'm digitally challenged.
Okay,
So,
2013.
yeah,
Fire prevention and building code.
yes.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And Cliff did say, when he reviewed it, that it is, you know, there are not large changes. It's much the same as it was, but.
I mean, I guess I suppose it would be helpful for me, if this might be too big of an ask, honestly, is to have some. I mean, I can do this myself, I guess, but notes of what the changes are. If we just put these things side by side, like, do we have a sense of what the markups have been from 2013 to this?
Yeah, I don't,
Okay.
other than that they were minuscule. So I can see what I can find on that.
Well, I'll do it. I mean, but, okay.
If, are we okay with voting on the public hearing?
Yeah,
Well-
sorry, I don't want to gum it up. I'm just,
I think it'll be a laborious, long night if we try to review the document tonight, so.
Yeah.
So with that, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of having the public hearing at 7 p.m. on December 14th? Say aye or raise your hand. Aye. Opposed? Great, okay. Thank you for the questions and to clarify that for everybody. I will now offer a resolution approving a 2-year member participation agreement with the Comp Alliance with the New York State Municipal Workers' Compensation Alliance, which is our current workers' comp carrier. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Seconded by Catherine. So I'll read the resolution. Whereas the Comp Alliance is a group self-insurance program of municipal employers, and whereas a municipal cooperative, services are tailored to the unique risks of municipalities. And whereas surplus funds and performance awards are returned to the municipality. And whereas a 2-year fixed agreement provides budgetary stability, and whereas Caroline's 2023 funding contribution is a 3% decrease from our last 2-year agreement. Therefore, be it resolved, the Caroline Town Board hereby authorizes the supervisor to sign a 2-year member participation agreement with the Comp Alliance for workers' compensation insurance. So any questions? Any questions about that?
I like the 3% decrease.
Yeah. Good. All right, so I think it's pretty straightforward, and I'm very happy with how things have gone with the Comp Alliance, and yeah. And we did just receive about a $5,000 rebate for good performance. So with that, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Great. Thank you very much. I will offer a resolution authorizing the approval of the 2023 amended municipal cooperative agreement for the Health Consortium. And I'm not going to read this one because it's a lot of language, but this is a ministerial thing that the Health Consortium has to do for New York State each year when new members are added to the consortium. So this simply enables that, and each municipality has to do this and return a signed form to the Health Consortium. So and I meant to look up which municipalities were added this year. I think the total is about 60 now.
Wow, really?
Yeah, so, but I forgot to look it up, so. But they're constantly adding members, so, which is a good thing. Did I get a second? Okay, you seconded that, right?
Yep.
So any questions or discussion further on that? Great, okay, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye. Raise your hand. Aye. Opposed? Great, thank you. And I will now open the meeting for committee reports.
Maybe I'll just start with the zoning commission. You're probably all aware, I don't know if everyone in the audience is aware that the past week, the zoning commission held 2 public information sessions. One online last Monday night, and one hybrid on Saturday afternoon at the Brooktondale Community Center. Personally thought they were extremely well organized. The zoning commission went way overboard to try to set up the hybrid so that everybody could participate on Saturday. And that ended up working quite well. They then the zoning commission met again last night. And very meticulously went over questions that had been asked of them in the past 2 meetings. Made quite a number of substantial changes to the draft in response to that. They are trying to schedule another meeting next week, potentially for Thursday night, depending upon space availability. They soon will be at the point where they will have a finished draft document. And they will then be able to schedule a public hearing for public response to that. It's looking like that might be sometime in January, but I don't want to make any promises, but it's getting quite close. What will happen after that public hearing is that the zoning commission will then consider comments made at the public hearing. They may or may not make further changes to the document. At some point in the near future, they will either make a recommendation or not make a recommendation to pass this draft on to the town board. At that point, it's our active job to consider it. The zoning commission will then be decommissioned once it's done with that business. So one of the things that I would really recommend that we as a board do now is carefully study the draft. The draft as it currently is doesn't promise to be changed radically, so it'll be easy for us to track any further changes. And the zoning commission and then Stolzenberg will be able to help us with that, but I think it would be really helpful for us to be prepared at the moment of the public hearing with to share amongst ourselves any responses we might have, so that once the document gets to us, we'll be prepared to have inter-board communications about it, if not public discussion. The other thing that we need to do once we have what for us is a close to settled document, is we then need to pass it on for SEQA review. That's something also that Guy and Ann will help us prepare. And that's the formal responsibility that we have in relationship to this, and then the county also can or cannot comment on our law before we then take final vote or action on it. So I just want to put this on everybody's plate. Catherine, yeah.
Catherine has a question or comment.
Question, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I can wait until after.
No, I'm done. I was done.
Did you say that we should be prepared to comment at the public hearing of the zoning commission, or do you mean the public hearing that we would have?
No, I hope that we can be ready once if a recommended law is passed to us, that we will each have reviewed it enough so that we can be ready to trade ideas amongst ourselves.
Oh, sure. Okay.
that's-
But we're not supposed to be, are we allowed and or supposed to be commenting at these public hearings?
Well, in the past, board members have commented at public hearings, but I think in this case, it would be best for us not to do that. For the comp plan, board members did comment at the moment of public hearing. I remember this quite distinctly.
Oh, that's right.
But the
right.
comp plan is a different structure than the zoning. So I guess I would suggest that we hold off our own recommendations for discussion amongst ourselves.
You're talking about the public hearing with the zoning commission.
Yes,
going to have,
yes.
so that Our public hearing.
Yes.
we will have it. Okay.
By the time we would have a public hearing, we would have gone through all of those
That's all.
discussions. Yes,
Okay. That's a good.
yes.
All right.
Is that clear? Is that clarified, Catherine?
Yeah, it's definitely clear. And I mean, I agree with your recommendation. I just want to make sure that we are all on the same page as a board. And, you know, I think we should be a unified unit on this. So whatever the decision is, it is, but you know, if we need to have additional discussion, you know, outside of this meeting, that's fine too. But I want to be like super clear on what we as a board are doing.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess I was planning on listening at the public
yes.
hearing.
absolutely.
And then
Okay.
If I had something to say, I guess I was thinking I would do it at the last public hearing that we would have, should we adopt it and everything, should all the other steps go through, so.
So my intuition on this is that I think this is, I agree with this. And I don't know for sure, like procedurally, as individuals, it would probably be okay, but I don't think, since we are gonna be in the driver's seat and, this is gonna be in our laps when they pass it on, I think what is being suggested tonight is a good, very good policy. So I agree with that.
Cool.
Is there anybody else comments or thoughts? Is there general agreement? Or, yeah,
Huh?
General agreement,
Is that
yes.
over?
okay,
Add or subtract
Okay.
great.
or trace.
And my only other comment about the different reviews is that the ag committee will be recommending an ag and markets review,
Okay, great.
which has been recommended to us. So,
Which I think we'd want to do anyway.
yeah. I mean, I think that was like a plan all along, but while you were mentioning seeker, I thought I would just
Right.
mention that.
Yep. Great. I think that's
That's my report.
good. Any other discussion points on this? This is an important discussion and point in time. So any other questions or concerns as we move forward? Because I'm glad we're having this discussion so that we are clear about our process here. So any other thoughts or?
How many public hearings will the zoning commission have? Just one?
We don't know.
Well, I don't know. I would.
Because that's up to them
That's
to
up to
decide.
Yeah.
Right, they're required to have, I should have said they're required to have one, yes. And I should just reiterate that they have held to date 6 question and answer sessions. The board held 3 public
Listen,
comment
Listen
sessions,
sessions.
listen sessions. So that's already 9 listening, comment, etc. sessions roughly within the past year. Which is quite significant,
and they answered all those other questions in writing,
yes.
which helped me a lot.
And I should mention that those answers to the some 230 questions in writing remain accessible on the zoning commission page on the
Yeah.
town website.
I
They're
recommend
very,
people get
they're very
a cup of
informative.
tea and sit down
Yeah.
and read it. So, just a little bit every, for a couple nights.
And if you didn't have the opportunity to follow their discussions quite as closely, to say the liaison has throughout, this is a really good. That document is an excellent way to follow a lot of their thinking.
Right.
And there's also the presentations online
Yes,
that you can watch.
Yeah.
So that's-
including all the meetings.
Great. I'm gonna just interject here something because somebody let me know that they had a hard time hearing the recording, so just to encourage us to speak at the microphone and project. So
Okay,
I meant to mention that earlier, so I'm throwing it in now. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
thank you. We have one, we don't object to each other.
You're welcome.
Box there.
Continuing with committee reports.
I'll do the broadband committee. since
Okay.
I'm the broadband committee again.
You evolved into it.
I evolved into it. Okay, so, because people know that I got this grant in, on Halloween. To the Tompkins Community Recovery Fund. And, so the county had about $6.5 million, and they gave out all the grants, I think it was 38, something like that, 38 million, something like that, it was something crazy, so. But we've scored pretty highly, we've made the first cut, so. I'm still hoping that we will get the money, it's a grant, the money is for, building off of Dryden's broadband infrastructure. They're making a broadband utility that's a not-for-profit. And their service is coming like right next to this building, right? I mean, it's right up the hill. So the idea is that we would get money, and that money would be added to the ARPA funds. And that then there would be an expansion of this like net across our town to cover the areas that the commercial broadband is not interested in covering. So like, because they can't make a profit on it. So it would be reaching out across all of Carolina, including those dead end places and those middle places between these nexuses of population where they do make a profit. So I'm going into more detail here. So Hunt's Engineering is the one working with, it's called Dryden Fiber. And basically Dryden's making a utility, and we'd be like, I don't know how to say it, branching off of, grafting onto, something like that, hooking into them. And there's a bunch of things would have to be worked out, but they've done the legwork on the legal stuff. They've done the legwork on how to set this up. They've already got it set up. They laid optic fiber cable along the rail trail, and are already signing people up to get hooked up. They're running a little behind schedule where they want it to be, but it's about cost-wise for families. I need to get a list of that when we talk about that at the meeting on Friday. Is just for a regular household is $45 a month, and after, so they're not for profit. So after they've taken out a big bond, and after that gets paid off, then the price will actually decrease. It'll be voluntary, it's not getting rid of any other internet services that are already set up.
Good point.
Yeah, so nobody's forced to change over. So to add on to this confusion here, it's just complex. It's just really complex. So the county also has an initiative, and then another thing is the state got money from the federal government. So last year, there's a big federal infrastructure law that went through with a lot of money for broadband and rural access. And so New York State has organized, I always get the name wrong. Let's see if it's Connect All this. Can't find it. But New York State has a lot of money. There we go. Found it. It is called Connect All Initiative. To bring affordable broadband to millions of New Yorkers, and specifically in rural and underserved areas and dead end places. So like if you were at the end of a road, there's money for that. So what I want to put forward next week is a resolution to go ahead and use some of the ARPA funds to hire Hunt engineers to draw up a plan, a feasibility study, to determine the exact goals on how we could do this in Carolina. And that way we would be set for when the money on this now that the state, right, would open up. We would be able to say, we know how we're going to spend the money. This is how we're going to do it. You should give us money. So that we can get people hooked up to broadband. So this is the proposal that they gave me that I put in the we can get a more exact one. I asked them to write something up for me to put in the grant proposal. I did it.
For the recovery funds.
For the recovery funds, right, right. But even if we don't get the recovery funds, right, if we use some of the ARPA funds towards this, and just, because we want to use the ARPA funds to move forward, this is gonna take a while. Ideally, we would get the recovery funds, right? But if we ask Con to do this and get a, we're not gonna know about the recovery funds until January, I didn't say that. So if we get the recovery funds, yay, right, then we have lots of money to move forward and we get a lot of areas done. If we don't get the recovery funds, we could still then
It's
use,
still useful.
we could use the ARPA money. And then we would still be set up to be able to get this other money when it's released sometime next year. So that is what I want to, propose that we, that I'll put forward a resolution next week. So that we can start communication with Hunt on how to get started on it. It would cost money.
52?
52, and then there's a reimbursable budget for 5,000. 57 total. It's a bit of money. So. They also are working with Dryden. Now, they're still working with Dryden. They're very involved in getting people to sign up, reaching out, finding more funding, finding more grants, and they're working really hand in hand with the Dryden town board. The village is also involved with this.
Is it possible the consultant services would find that it's not feasible?
Not the feeling I got. I'm just saying, when I talk to them, they've been excited about it. They want to be pretty straightforward.
What was your question, Cal? I'm sorry.
Is it possible that the consulting services might find it's not feasible? This is a feasibility study.
Mhm.
And maybe that's good, that would be good to know.
That would be a good question. Yeah.
I mean, we're just talking like it was a sure thing.
Yeah, I guess what I was looking at the feasibility study was like the steps we would take, and to make sure it was possible to reach all the town.
Well, that could be a question for Ryan,
Right, that's Brian.
maybe
Yeah.
Ray Berger.
Yeah. So we've been, Mark and I have been going to the broadband meetings.
Yeah, no, I think we
Yeah.
can go ahead with it.
That's
Just-
really-
I mean, I hear or read, well, maybe they find it.
Catherine, I copied one for you, but you're not here, but I did send you an email with the
The grant.
the proposal for professional engineering report.
I have it in email. Is that the one you sent tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Good. So a question that I have, Kate, in relationship to this. Is that when we talked about pooling ARPA and potential grant money,
Right,
we came up with a rough ballpark figure of say 550, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And we understood that that was going to be in the ballpark of what we would need to pull off this servicing.
right,
If
so,
we,
yeah.
if we use. And it well could be that this study
Mhm.
had always been understood to be part of
Yes,
that plan, because you can't do it without the study.
we can't do
So
without the
I
study.
just wanted to
Yeah.
clarify that.
That's right, you have to have the study to do this. I mean, this would be going into, getting the right of way to use the telephone poles where the optic fiber would be laid, the different companies of, the different broadband companies that could be using and, all these different engineering stuff. I mean, we need a contractor to do this, right? And since they're already doing it, and this would hook into what they're already working on, it would make sense to use them. So the idea is that they're going to be putting a, like a nexus called POP, it's a point of, I always forget what the second P is.
For your presence.
Point of presence, thank you, I always think of provision, that's not right, point of presence at Yellow Barn Road, and then that will. We'll be able to reach part of Caroline if we do this and reach an agreement with them, I mean, they will have the billing and stuff like that.
That's one idea.
That's one idea,
So-
and then to have a point of presence here in Sladeville is an idea. And then there would be, so it radiates out of these point of presences about 4 to 6 miles. So, but then that's, you know, road miles, not as the crow flies. So, because you can't put, you know, cable across the air without poles. So, so yeah, I think it's really exciting. I would. I'm still got I really do have my fingers crossed. I think, the possibility that we'll get them both monies. And, which could get us really moving quickly on this.
Well, I think that there's no question that if we did this study,
Mhm.
we'll be in an extremely good position to be competitive for state funds once they're released.
Yeah.
I've been working with the state on something completely different, unrelated to the town, and it's become clear to me that those who come to the table with their ducks in the order are well served.
Right.
So I think this is a great idea.
How do they come across the state forest?
What?
How do they come across?
I don't know. I don't know. That's for them to figure out.
Yeah,
So.
they have to figure that out, but
Yeah.
I'm,
I've never seen
yeah,
that, so.
I don't, you know, we have to,
Yeah,
right,
Never seen any.
well, just, not to go back and forth, they did do something with the state force and driving, but I don't know the details. Plus my question. But that's why we need the engineers, just because they know the ins and outs, they know the laws, they know who to call and. But I was thinking about that, last week, I was wondering about.
There have to be provisions in the state, what the state's planning to build out,
Right,
to use public state lands, because they
Mhm.
cover so much of the territory of the state in rural areas, so
Right.
that they must be planning on that.
I imagine it goes down roadways, things like that, so. I guess.
okay. So, yeah. Any questions?
Any more? Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
sure.
That's exciting.
It is. Biscuit Tompkins County Transportation Council, we're having a planning. Planning meeting, and hope to hear some information about, sorry, about that grant we put in September. The,
Yeah.
for,
Safety.
Safe Roads for All. There's also some, money available, I sent to you, Mark, for that 18,000. I sent you an information about it the other day. Remember, I sent you, it was from Fernando. We talked about possibly putting it with a trail for the engineering study, right? Can't remember.
Yeah,
Anyway,
like
okay,
a little bit.
a
yeah.
little bit, okay. And then, I guess last month they talked about, they also have some money, but they want a countywide kind of larger project, so I'm trying to make sure Caroline's included in that. And whatever they come up with, whether it's crosswalks or bus stops or something.
I thought that one had been submitted or not.
No, it's gonna, that one it's not much money per year, it's like 80,000 for 5 years, and so
Oh.
they're trying to come up with a large project and say that they'll be spending it
Okay,
over this period of time, but it'll be one ongoing project, and there's discussion of. I was a little confused about whether, like, different municipalities would be putting in for a large project, but I talked to Ray about it, and he said, no, we're trying to think of something countywide, if it's a countywide idea. TCAT will also be applying, so, which would be great if they can get another rural route, for example, so. trying to-
Great. Thank you. Community reports, anything else?
Is there anything back on the RFQs on the highway facility? We've gotten back.
I thought it was your report, so, see, yeah, we've gotten a few responses
I
and
haven't heard anything to report back.
the pre-bid site visit is Friday at 10 a.m.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll be able to get more reports on that next week.
Well,
Or just, some feedback.
so that, I mean, I don't know, I mean, that's a chance for, so if you look at the process thing that I submitted with the RFP and it's on the
Yeah.
town website on the homepage.
Yep.
So they'll come ask questions, and then, we'll post the questions at some point. So we'll be following that process. So,
I can't remember, Mark, will these be sealed bids?
yes,
Mark, the people visiting will ask us questions or we ask them questions?
no, it's
What
an
did you just say?
opportunity, yeah, so the site visit it's optional pre-bid site visit for them to see the site and ask questions, and so Bob will be there, I'll be there, and basically we'll show them around.
Okay,
And then bidders are asked to submit questions. And then those are posted so that all the questions and answers are available for everybody to see. So,
gotcha. Thank you.
Yep. So yeah, it's moving along.
So who can, I can't be there on Friday.
Right.
And I can't do that, I'm out of town.
Can you do it?
I'll change my schedule around so I can.
I'm gonna be out of town.
Then Tim, I had not a question, but just kind of how something might, just a little trivia thing about the
I'm not good at trivia.
water resources overlay. Should I just address it to Gene or Ernie?
Yeah.
Or you or,
I'd address it to Gene.
okay.
Yeah.
And it's just the fact that when we get an inch of rain, 10 million gallons of water falls off the town roads. And I couldn't help today, but today when I was driving around, the amount of water running in our ditches. And just in water resource, to me, that starts to become a water resource and just how ditch water is even handled.
Yeah, I'd raise it.
Yeah, exactly, but that's what I was.
Yeah.
Musing about, and just, it just almost seems like our ditches are intermittent streams.
Almost, yeah, right.
In front of Jesse's house, when we get an inch of rain, just the amount of water that comes, and then it becomes a water resource after, it seems like it goes through the culvert pipe, but, coming down the ditch, and I just wonder, I don't know, it's just, at what point something becomes. But I just see a lot of water running in ditches.
So just send your question to Gene and
Yeah,
show.
I'll send it to Gene
forward.
after that.
What- yeah.
But I was surprised about that.
I don't remember hearing that come up at the council.
Yeah.
Great, okay. Thank you.
We have 370 acres of road.
I like
What's
I
that?
like number.
We have 370 acres of road.
That's kind of scary.
Okay, and,
Trivia.
okay, I didn't know that, so,
Well-
yep,
I'll have to call Hannah for her trivia night at the market.
There you go.
great. All right, anything else for committee reports? Okay, moving along, any feedback on the November 16th minutes from Jesse? Hearing none, I will thereby approve the minutes of November 16th. Thank you, Jesse. And I will call for agenda items for next week's business meeting that will preceding the business meeting again will be the public hearing that we on the administration of the New York State Building Code local law. And oh, excuse me, I wanted to do a transfer resolution before I move to that. So, and this is just because of a accounting code error. Last week, I made a transfer I didn't want to do, so I'm going to reverse that. So that I will offer the following budget transfer resolution. The Caroline Town Board hereby authorizes the budget transfer of $14,011 from DA 5130.4 machinery contractual to DA 5110.4 general repairs contractual.
Got it.
Thank you. Do I have a second on that? Did I hear one?
We'll give you one.
Cal gave me one. Okay, any discussion? Great, okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, thank you for that tidying up.
Next week, I'd like to talk about just, you know, the old town hall updates. Movements moving forward.
This building.
Yes, this building.
And everybody has, does everybody have the list, the list that Steve Gibeon sent to us all or not? We should all get that to study before that discussion, don't you think?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, everybody should. I don't know if
Okay.
everybody has it.
okay, I think that's great. I think that's that'd be good. Thank you.
Do we have it? I can't remember.
Well, we'll make sure you get it.
I think it was.
I
sent.
kind of
Yeah, I
think
think
it
it
was.
was.
But we will
think it
send,
was.
I'll send it again.
Yeah,
to
I
make
think
sure.
it was.
Yeah. It's a very exhaustive. So I see our task is to start discussing, you know, what we want to come out in the wash, what our priorities are. What in this laundry list looks like things that we want to include in the grant application. This is my opinion, that we want to start teeing things up for next year's consolidated funding application for historic structures. Susan Holland from Historic Ithaca is willing to at least advise us. And so I think we'll be
Be in good shape.
staying in touch with her. So, yeah. Great. Okay, thanks, Cal. I think that's a great thing.
There's also a county beautification grant.
And let's see your.
Oh, yeah, my resolution.
Okay,
Thanks.
so.
Do we need to set a date for our end of the year meeting?
Tim, what?
Do we need to set a date for our end of the year meeting, which we would have to do next week, right?
We could do it tonight or next
Tonight.
week. I was considering for your consideration, not having an end of the year meeting. And the reason is, I mean, I've always kind of scratched my head about the end of the year meeting. So my proposal is that we authorize prepayment of any bills that should be paid this month and not next month after audit, after creation of a voucher and audit by the supervisor. And
A great idea.
Yes,
And I don't understand why we need a whole meeting at the end of the year. I always kind of, I mean, the idea has been to tidy things up at the end of the year, but I think we can do it this way.
Yeah.
Just as easily. And I always like seeing everybody, but,
Yeah, this is in New York City.
okay,
Yeah, we'll do it that way.
Take
Okay.
all these years. Figure it out.
yeah, great.
okay.
It is easier that way to figure it out or not?
I mean, it's the same, it's just by a couple of weeks, is all, so I don't see why it would make any difference. And-
Right. It's sort of the conceptual issue for me is, you know. Everything in town government is like a very methodical, rhythmic cycle, monthly cycle. So why would we interrupt that? You know, it's like, so it seems like unless there's something that, you know, is not a regular thing that needs to be paid, and we can deal with that. So that's my proposal, and it sounds like everybody's on board, is that right? So,
Second,
okay, great.
Great idea.
Great, okay, thank you. And
That's
while,
that's our holiday present,
what's that?
our holiday present.
Yes, that's right. So, and then the only other thing is, and it's probably not anything for you all to worry about, but I will let Bob know as well that this is the time of year for us to identify any encumbrances. So those would be for monies that have been contractually obligated, they've been spent, but they haven't been paid yet. So you encumber 2022 funds, and government has a little trick or something, and you know, keeps them set aside and pays them next year with 2022 funds. So I'm not, it could be, I'll have to check on. Yeah, so I'll just have to see if there are any. Usually those are big ticket items that have been ordered, but we haven't gotten, and so we haven't paid for them, so we'll see. Great. So we won't have an end of year meeting, and
I'm glad I asked.
yeah, I'm glad you did too. I have a few things. Are there any other things that, these are really boring things, so does anybody have anything that's more like not more exciting?
Quite boring.
What's that?
Not quite as boring.
Not quite. Yeah. So let's see, I have a resolution to establish the wage increase for salary positions in the town, and that'll be at 4.5% as we planned in the budget. A resolution to establish the health insurance premium contribution for full-time employees who take health insurance, and that'll be at 16% as we do. And I will offer a resolution endorsing the 3-year snowplow agreement with Tompkins County. Number 4 is I'll offer a resolution to authorize cooperative purchasing of workers' comp insurance with the fire departments. And number 5, I'll offer a resolution to for the legal services of Thaler and Thaler for next year. And I will clarify with Guy, but I'm pretty sure they, I think last year he said they would be staying flat this year, but things have changed, so that could be different. So I will have to update you on that. And then a resolution for the 2023 fire protection contracts with Brookendale and Steedsville. So that's what those are the exciting items I have. That we
Keeps the machinery running.
procedurally. So and then I've got the Kate's broadband resolution, the town hall discussion, that'll be good. And then you mentioned county beautification. I did get a notice on that. I don't know if we really want to deal with that right now, but
I think No, I don't think that's the end,
Okay,
yeah, just, but
okay,
people can come up with an
Just-
idea. They're looking for larger projects, $1,600, not like little ones. So, and we're right on, we're supposed to let people know how beautiful Tompkins County is.
Hmm.
And I thought,
okay,
something on 79 would be nice. Big garden, I don't know.
okay.
That yard right out there.
Thoughts welcome. $1,600 is what you
Yeah,
said?
they're
Okay.
hoping for 4 grants of $1,600.
Okay.
Placed from the county, and that's different, they used to do little ones, like, we got money for the community center, or Dale for the new sign
Hmm,
and stuff like that.
okay,
But,
Okay.
you know, so,
well, if people have thoughts about it. Great, yeah. We've, you know. We've been notified that this is available in past years, like every year, so we've just never done it, and it's, it seems like it's a hard thing. To identify and get everybody to agree on, is kind of what it's
right,
come down to, but. $1,600 isn't a huge amount of money, I don't know, you'd have to kind of pencil in what that would be, some plantings or something, and then-
yeah, maybe,
okay,
maybe some people who live behind here would be interested in like, having a garden out front or something, you know?
oh, community garden or
Yeah,
something.
community garden, I don't know, or just, you know,
All ideas that we floated before, so. It almost, I mean, I kind of think this is, again, like other topics we've discussed. You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm throwing this out there for your consideration. I mean, would we, you know, it would be a committee could develop a recommendation or something like that.
right,
So,
I mean, somebody, just came to my head, when somebody had talked about. What did they talk about this? About replanting some of the trees that were taken down, you know, by the highways, something like that, I mean, along 79, I don't know. If people are interested in that or not, but it's. Anyway, it's for people to think about.
yep, okay, thank you. Okay. Have we covered everything for tonight?
Mark,
Hey, Catherine,
yeah, whenever we're done with tonight, I guess I want to just make a motion to enter executive session to talk about something.
okay, are you ready to make your motion?
There's no
Okay.
want to interrupt the agenda, but yeah.
I think we're all set for that.
Okay.
So, and you'll have to identify the purpose in some way of
To-
the rationale for the executive session. Can you do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, to discuss a personnel matter.
Okay. Do we have a second?
It's like-
Cal seconded that. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Great.
See you guys later.
Okay.
Have a nice night.
Yep, you too, Rob. See ya.
Thanks, Rob.
And